Batman versus Superman.
Dawn of Justice.
I liked it.
It was an okay movie. I wasn't super upset. Just wasn't super excited either.
So when it comes to the overall story, it's pretty self-explanatory from the title. Batman and Superman, they fight, and then there's the Dawn of Justice. For my opinion, the story was pretty damn good. It was told well. You had just the two characters and their feelings towards each other generally until it reaches the climax, which was pretty lame, and then it moves on to the Dawn of Justice part, which was just pretty awesome.
Definite agreement on the last part. That was probably the most entertaining part of the entire movie to me. The first part is where we differ. Very much a Zack Snyder film. It was a lot of random, pointless, pretty shots that literally you could have taken out of the movie and not have lost anything. And then you get this story of 8 different people, because you introduce Lex, you introduce Batman, you introduce Superman, obviously you introduce Wonder Woman. You introduce all these people, and you try to do it really quickly in the beginning, so then you can tie them all together with a great story. Done, rushed, whole lot of skipping. I'm watching a 2-hour movie and I get to the very end and I'm finally happy.
So I understand that you feel that the beginning was a bunch of little pieces that didn't fit, but it was establishing not just the story of where Batman is in his life and whatever, but also why he hates and wants to kill Superman. And you also had what Superman has against Batman. You also had a world with a god and aliens in it that everyone knows about it.
You didn't get as much from Superman hating Batman. You got a little bit, but you didn't get a whole lot.
You didn't need Superman to really hate Batman.
Yeah, very
you just
true.
needed him to be enough unhappy with the way he is in the world for him to want to fight him. But because it's a story of a fight between pretty much a god versus the regular dude needs to be all in it, and the god needs to be kind of just good enough to want to fight to make that fight interesting, which is where we're gonna get in a second.
Yeah, we'll get to that. With all the backstories and trying to create everybody, give everybody a purpose, some of them were done well. Not all, in my opinion. They were a little weak here, they were a little weak there, some were really strong. Batman's opening sequence, his backstory, his reasonings for being all uptight about everything, Superman, life, people, butterfly. I get all of that. And I think that is probably the prettiest sequence of the entire movie. Beginning to end is the beginning thing with Batman. Then you throw into Superman's, which to me was just mimicking Batman's thing with his side of it. I don't need it though. I understand. Then you have Lex Luthor stuff. Then you get to Wonder Woman. Then you get to this person. Then you get to that person. And to me, it's like, okay, I get it. Let's just start getting the story all connected.
But it does all come together. That's the thing. It does.
It does.
But they establish all the stuff and then it comes together.
True.
That's a good establishing.
It does at the very end. The problem I have with the way he filmed this movie is that the pieces he did in the very beginning didn't stand very well on their own as a whole, at least all of them.
So basically, we're disagreeing if
we're
they have a point or
disagreeing.
not. We'll agree to fine. Let's move on to characters.
I'm better. Henry Cavill is fantastic as Superman. I don't care what anybody says. You can disagree with me. I'm still going to stand there and say best Superman.
He also is great as Clark.
He really is. I like him as Clark. What am I going to do? Because I need to go change again, and I can't keep changing because I'm going to get fired from my work, and everyone's going to know who I am. Blah.
I think Henry Cavill is probably the best Superman we've had.
We agree. All right. Yes, we got one.
Moving on to Batman. Ben Affleck's fine. He hates. Ben Affleck's fine. I don't think any of the actors were fantastic. The only reason I think Henry Cavill is the best Superman is because he's just cast perfectly for that role. He just fits him like a glove. Mm-hmm. The characters were written interestingly. They had their stuff, but every actor, to me, at the end of the day, still seemed like the actor portraying a character rather than really getting immersed into there. So that's Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah. I loved Luthor, but I also couldn't help but see Jesse Eisenberg playing Lex Luthor. And
the biggest problem to me with Lex Luthor is that in every version of Lex Luthor, he's never a kid next to the adult version of whoever he's next to. How the heck are you supposed to take him seriously as a bad guy?
It depends on your version. First of all, let's get one thing out of the way. Okay, I never care about source material, and I'm the DC fan here between us. You've read much more Marvel than I have. I've read much more DC. I know the graphic novels that this thing is based on, and I still don't care because I'm still judging this movie as it holds on its own. And I liked the character of Lex Luthor as he was. I thought his age worked. I thought it totally worked that he was the younger, more enthused, businessman going. That was the thing. He was the Facebook guy. Facebook guy. Zimmerman? Something. you're having the same problem I'm having.
Yeah,
the
words.
brain fart
Yeah.
of guy in charge of Facebook. It worked for what this movie was trying to be, but that's why at the end of the day, I felt, I'm watching Jesse Eisenberg play Lex Luthor. Gal Gadot is not a good casting. Wonder Woman, the character, was
Yes.
great.
Yeah, overall, she was good. Gal Gadot, I am not knocking Wonder Woman. I'm super happy that she has finally made it into a movie. She is awesome. She is great. She's the only one that can actually wrangle Superman. As a character, Wonder Woman was not Amazonian. She doesn't look strong like an Amazonian. She doesn't look tall like an Amazonian. She doesn't have any figures like an Amazonian, and she sounds like she's from India. And the outfit wasn't bad, wasn't great. How they used her in the movie wasn't bad, wasn't great. I was disappointed because when I saw her jump on the screen first time, ready to whoop some butt at the very end, I was like, all right, give me some Wonder Woman.
Which actually does bring us into the action of the movie, which has to be one of my bigger letdowns in the movie. Not that the action was bad, it was just mediocre. There were some moments that were great. There was one scene that we both loved. One of the best things about Man of Steel was that for the first time we saw Superman really doing an action like super
the whole
cool.
3D just, it was awesome.
It was awesome. And now we have like Superman, Wonder Woman, Doomsday all taking each other, and somehow it just doesn't look as cool.
It fell flat. It fell flat. It's a good way to say it. It was like, it was here, but it wasn't like, whoa. It was just, look, they're fighting.
But you know what? Little fights aside, we're going to see Batman versus Superman. This is what we've waited for.
It's the title of the movie.
We get to the fight, and it's... It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I disagree. It wasn't bad. It was just the build-up for it, and this is, again, where we disagree story-wise. The build-up for it was fantastic. The fight itself was... meh.
It was still Batman vs. Superman for the first freaking time on film. I wanted to have my face blown off. I was in 3D IMAX. I wanted my ears to ring. I wanted to feel the punch. I felt nothing. There were some cool things in it. Overall, I was let down because I didn't get hit in the face. I didn't get hit in the gut. I didn't get smacked in the face. I didn't get crunched. I was mad. I wanted to just, you could go see the movie and wait an hour and a half just for the scene and you'd be happy with your life. And I didn't get that.
Probably the problems have to do with the lack of set pieces. The way the fight happened was pretty much on a repeat. It wasn't terrible. It worked. It just wasn't great.
That's
it
actually a
wasn't
good
what
point.
we were looking for.
My biggest problem with this movie that made it so hard to get into any emotional scene or get into this fight was just very simply Hans Zimmer's soundtrack. He used the same sounds for everything.
It's not even about the same sounds for everything. Because I don't mind the fact that Hans Zimmer's score sounds like a Hans Zimmer score, just like I don't mind that the Danny Elfman score sounds like a Danny Elfman score. The problem, subtlety, is something that they seem to just not be aware that exists in score making. I like the movie. There's most of the stuff I liked. There are some story elements that maybe not. The action could have been better, but on a whole, I like the social aspect. I really like the social aspect of the movie. I like the psychology of the characters. And I like the conclusion, and I love the teasing.
Whole lot of Easter eggs in that movie. Whole lot.
Good old fan service, just done so well, and I really love that. But just by far, the worst part was the score.
Should you go see this movie? Sure. Is it completely horrendous? No. Is it unbelievably fantastic? No. It's a decent movie. Don't spend the $18 to go see it in IMAX. Go see it regular. Not needed for the 3D. On a kid's note, it is actually a very dark movie, and there is a couple of risque scenes. It also is a very dark scene. Even my kids, they're 12 and 11, and they jumped a handful of times. There was kids below me that were jumping. Very intense. So just take that into mind from a parent side of it.
So thanks for watching our review. We try to make these about twice a month. We are on a budget after all, but if you want to see more of this, you can click the subscribe plushie or the subscribe button, which is... it keeps moving anyway, but I think it's there.
It might be there.
Maybe.
There? Nah, you get the point.
Every Zack Snyder movie for me has this, and I leave it with the same feeling, which is, I liked it, but... ... In all of his movies, in every one, there's like well-told story all in all, and he just needs to put the camera really close to the leaves that are fighting with the wind, with the sun glaring somewhere in the back. needs to look artsy and cool, and it doesn't have anything to do with making the movie any better.
Thinking of it the way that my fiance said it makes me look back at the movie and look at it differently as well. If you look at this movie as a graphic novel, the movie is now a completely different movie again, involving why he did this.
Actually, that one awesome sequence reminded me of the Arkham Asylum games. I don't know if you played.
Yeah, I have actually. That was exact.
That's exactly what it
that was
reminded
triangle,
me of.
square, 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 triangle.
Yeah,
It's like,
it
what are you
was-
doing? Bat grenade, jump up here, grappling hook, throw down, snap neck.
It was so cool.